What an interesting turn of events. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk more about the Dave Chappelle attacker. Now, I've done quite a few videos and live streams and everything else about this guy. And the most recent one that I did, I said this guy is going to walk for the Dave Chappelle attack. We all remember what happened. Just for a quick recap, this guy right here, I think his name is Isiah Lee, pretty young man, early 20s. This guy decided to get on stage during Dave Chappelle's comedy set for the Netflix show, Netflix is a Joke. He decided to get on stage and try to attack Dave Chappelle. And as a result, his elbow got turned to a chicken wing. His whole head was beat in. You got this big, crazy lump right here. His plaits or dreads or whatever kind of hairstyle that is, that almost got removed from his scalp. He got beat down because he tried to go on stage and attack Dave Chappelle. He actually tackled him and Dave fell. So if he was to get on top of Dave and try to do some other kind of stuff, it could have ended very bad for Dave. But luckily, he had friends and security and whatnot on stage that went ahead and dealt with him, and he got arrested, and he's still in jail over that. Although he won't get prosecuted for the Dave Chappelle thing because they said it's a misdemeanor, because he was armed, by the way. He had this switchblade, or I don't want to say switchblade, it was a pocket knife that looked like a gun. Okay, it had the appearance of a gun, but it was just a knife that would eject from it. It wasn't any kind of gun function. But they said he didn't use that weapon when he went on stage and attacked Dave Chappelle. So because of that, it's a misdemeanor, and it'll get kicked down to like the municipal court, and there probably won't be any prosecution for that. However, this guy and his long rap sheet could not escape other charges that are kind of unrelated, but at the same time related. So here's what's going on. Dave Chappelle, quote unquote, attacker, charged with attempted murder for allegedly stabbing roommate last year. Now, what happened was he was in some kind of housing, some kind of mental help, mental assistance, halfway house type thing, and he had a roommate. So apparently him and his roommate get into it at this place, and he stabs the roommate. So now you get an attempted murder charge for that. And I think the publicity from this particular event alerted the guy who he was, or maybe he just became more inspired to say something against him. So now he's in jail for the whole Dave Chappelle thing because he's not able to meet his bond. But he's not going to come home because now he's being charged with the felony for the December 2021 attempted murder on the roommate. And the only reason why this is even happening is because of the whole Dave Chappelle thing and his face being on the news 24/7, right? That's kind of what's going on. So that's him right there. That appears to be some kind of suicide jacket and maybe a spit mask. You know, they put you in a jacket like that when you have mental health problems, which he obviously does have. And you see his arm in a sling. So he got some kind of gauze right there, right beneath his shoulder. And his arm is in a sling because that arm, remember, chicken wing, that thing was looking real nasty. And his face and everything was looking crazy. Now he appears to be a whole different man. That's him right there. It's a far cry from what he looked like just a few days ago or a few weeks ago, whenever that was. You know, they got his chicken wing kind of tightened up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really sure what they had to do to get that thing set back, but I'm sure that it wasn't something that felt really good. But that's the guy right there, Isiah Lee, stabbed his roommate last year. This is somebody that shouldn't have been on the street to begin with. I'm not really sure how he got into the Hollywood Bowl and then got on stage to attack Dave Chappelle out of all people in the world, but that's what happened. Okay. So let me just skim through some of this here. I think I pretty much got the general gist of it. So he was at a transitional housing facility. Now, I don't know what that means. Okay, he's 23 years old. Did he have some kind of prior felony conviction? Was he there because of a mental health, like a flag, like a red flag type thing? I don't know why he was there at this facility, but he was there and he stabbed his roommate while he was there. Now, my thing is, if you stab somebody at one of these places, they don't know who did it. They don't know that it's you. They don't have security and cameras and whatnot that can identify you as the person that did it. What was the result of this? Did he just stab the person and run away from the house? How did that whole thing play out? Because I'm thinking if you stab somebody at a place like this, you're going to get arrested right away. That's like stabbing somebody at the airport. The police are right there. What are you thinking about? You got cameras, police, high security, all of that stuff. Maybe that's not necessarily available at this particular house, but I would presume that kind of security would be there to at least a little bit, because you're going to be around a bunch of dangerous people. If you have a house where people have mental health issues or they just came home from the penitentiary or jail, obviously there's going to be a heightened level of security that's necessary to make the whole thing run. So I don't really know how that happened, where he stabbed somebody and then didn't get arrested, didn't go to jail, or maybe he did get arrested but was released. Because we know how Los Angeles, the DA, George Gascon, we know how they are. They're just, you could pretty much do whatever, right? As long as you don't have a body, like a dead body in the trunk of your car, you could pretty much just go home and it's not really a big deal. And I think a big part of the reason, again, why he's being prosecuted now for the stabbing last year is because of the publicity that the whole Dave Chappelle thing brought forward. It's like, all right, you ain't going to arrest this guy for that. It's bad enough you want to let him out on a misdemeanor for attacking Dave Chappelle on stage. That's bad enough, but then you don't want to bring him up on charges for the stabbing? I mean, what are we doing? This is part of the whole soft on crime kerfuffle, right? So the DA did admit that the publicity behind the whole Dave Chappelle thing, it prompted the victim to come forward, and it made this whole arrest and pending felony charge possible, right? So they're still trying to say that the Hollywood Bowl thing was rightfully referred to as misdemeanor, which it shouldn't be, because if you just let stuff like that happen, if it's a misdemeanor, what's going to happen is you're going to have other guys that go on stage and do the same thing. Or I could just attack a famous comedian, get my name out there, get a bunch of attention, and I won't even really go to the penitentiary. The most I might do is go to the city jail for a little bit, and I can bond out if I got money. I think this guy's bond only like $30,000, which would be like what, $3,000 if you're able to pay 10% if it's like that in Los Angeles. So a lot of guys will take that chance. They take that risk. I'm not going to get locked up. Maybe they'll beat me up. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? I got insurance and I got money. I'll be all right. That's pretty much what that is. Right. So yeah, this guy, Isiah Lee, is 23 years old. They fixed the chicken wing up. They fixed his face and his plaits and everything. They let him get a little bun, a plait bun. All right. So I'm just reading the rest of this here. Yeah, that's him right there. That's the guy, Isiah Lee, attacking Dave Chappelle. And Dave Chappelle did actually fall. So I'm not sure what this was, the Bill Goldberg spear trying to tackle him, but he did fall. And Isiah Lee, as you can see, get the chicken wing action going on. He looks to be in some pretty serious pain, right? And he was taken away in custody on a stretcher, gurney, whatever you want to call that. So his bail is $30,000, right? So Lee appeared in L.A. County courtroom last week where a judge rejected his public defender's bid for him to be released on his own recognizance. Yeah, and still, because if not for the publicity behind this, he might would have been released, ROR, released on own recognizance, and not even had to pay bail, right? Because really, $30,000, how much is that? Like I said, if it's 10%, you pay $3,000. It's not that much money for a guy like that. Obviously, it is a lot of money, but a lot of people can make that and just go straight home, right? They can go straight home. Hold on, L.A. City Deputy Attorney Giselle Fernandez said during the hearing that Lee had several prior run-ins with the law, of course, like I said, long rap sheet, including a battery charge that was reduced to a disturbing the peace charge in San Bernardino. Maybe if this guy was actually held responsible for the actions that he has committed, then he wouldn't have been able to be on stage to attack Dave Chappelle in the first place. Maybe he'd be in prison or at least in jail somewhere away from civilized people. Right? Okay, hold on. Lee was also arrested for assault with deadly weapon in 2018 and for felony larceny in New York in 2015, according to Fernandez. Now, let's just think for a second here. This guy is 23 years old. It's 2022, so let's do a little bit of quick math. 2015 was 7 years ago. So you're talking about you got a juvenile record that's violent, right? Assault with deadly weapon in 2018, that's 4 years ago. So what were you, like, you just turned 18, 19? And before that, you were a juvenile, 15, 16? It's like, what are we doing? What exactly are we doing? Chappelle claimed he spoke to Lee backstage before he was hauled off by cops. According to Hollywood Reporter, the comment told the crowd at a surprise comedy show that Lee had ranted about his grandmother being forced out of her Brooklyn home due to gentrification. Okay, so maybe, let's read this here. Lee believed the attack would bring more attention to his grandmother's situation, said Chappelle, who added he thought Lee appeared to be mentally ill. Clearly mentally ill. Ain't no question about that. Shout out to, that's Dave right there, of course. But yeah, that's why they got him in the suicide jacket, because he might try to do something to himself. I think the way these little jackets work is you can't tear it at all, because they give you regular clothing. You could tear it and then fashion a noose and then do something to yourself. But this is tear proof, or at least tear resistant, so you can't do that. You know, and if you try to do it, it'll take you so long. By the time you have any kind of success, which you probably won't, you'll be noticed, right? That's the whole thing behind it. So yeah, this guy clearly has some mental problems. The whole thing about trying to talk about gentrification. I mean, your mind is not even on planet Earth anymore. So whatever kind of reason you come up with to justify what you did, I mean, come on. You need to go to the penitentiary or to the loony bin, somewhere away from normal everyday society, people that don't want to be hurt, stabbed, killed, or whatever that you may want to do to them. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this guy actually going to the penitentiary for something unrelated, but not for the whole Dave Chappelle thing? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And I guess I got to rephrase that. He is going partially because of the whole Dave Chappelle thing. If not for the Hollywood Bowl incident and all that publicity, this whole thing with the stabbing probably wouldn't even be brought up. It just would have happened, and then that would have been it. More soft on crime. All right, you have this violent, dangerous person with clear mental health issues going around stabbing people, robbery, larceny, all kind of stuff. Not really a big deal. Typical Los Angeles person. So now hopefully this guy will be away for a while and not pose a threat to society the way that he did when he was on stage at the Hollywood Bowl with Dave Chappelle and a bunch of other famous comedians. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.